Day 158. Paano kung too much ako para sa kanya? Hi, I'm Joelle. I talk for a living and I'm an overthinker. Sa bawat hakbang ng buhay, lagi ako nagtatanong, paano kung, paano kung, paano kung? At kung tulad nyo kung sobrang daming tanong sa life, tara, sabay nating sagutin ang mga paano kung questions sa buhay. This is Joelle and you're listening to the Paano Kung podcast. Hello, paano cuties? Kamusta ang puso? This episode is still being recorded live. Thank you guys! I appreciate you guys for being here with me today. Whether pinlano nyo or biglang, uy, Friday, let's go. I love that and I don't think there are accidents. It's always, what's meant to happen is always meant to happen. So, thank you guys. Now, for this episode, I actually made the promise sa mga overthinkers ko dun sa broadcast channel. Sabi ko, pipili ako ng paano kung question dun for today's live recording episode. So as usual, ang dami ulit na magagandang tanong na parang, hindi ko pa siya nasasagot pa rin. Ang dami, asaya. Ang dami, hindi talaga tayo mauubusan ng mga paano kung question. So, the one I decided to answer today is, well, makita niyo naman sa episode natin, paano kung too much ako para sa kanya? Ang downside talaga ng paglalagay ng question na pinipili ko through Instagram, wala talaga akong context sa kung ano yung problema. So, ako na lang ang mag-fill in the blanks. And I try to address as many perspectives as I can. But, syempre, before we move forward, let's get you to see first where I'm coming from. Backstory time. That's what's up. To be honest, never pa akong nasabihan ng straight up ng too much. Yung matipong parang, you're just too ganon. Never. But I have been called too clingy by someone I've dated. I have been called OA or maarte by many, many people online. So in some ways, many ways, I was too something. But there were definitely moments sa buhay ko where I actually thought that I was too much or I was afraid to be too much of something. Especially nung peak landi era ko where I kept meeting different people. Oo, na-enjoy ko yung phase na yun pero maraming times din kung saan mag-isa ako at napapaisip ako na, am I too much of this? Am I too much of that? Maybe I shouldn't be this like that. Because people would like me, but it would be never enough to pursue me completely or continue this relationship and figure this out more. Syempre frustrating siya kasi alam ko na grabe ako magmahal. Alam kong ang dami kong kayang ibigay. Pero bakit parang hindi pa rin siya nag-work out sa iba? Eventually, I learned that the short answer to this question is you're never too much for the right person. Syempre, pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya-maya pa. And, well, as human beings, it's not just black and white. There are many factors to consider like, ano ba yung mga bagay na too much? Too what? There's so many of that. Important din to understand our own experiences in relation to other people's experiences. How these shaped how we give love and want to love. How we also want to be loved. Expectations natin while also being accountable for our actions. Ang dami. Pero kung recurring pattern ito sa buhay natin na either nasabihan tayong too much or if feel natin na too much tayo and we want to do something about it, edi dapat may magbago. Dapat we go a little deeper. Na-feel nyo rin ba yun before? Nasabihan na ba kayong too much before? Or naramdaman? Feeling. Ha? Okay lang. Grabe. Feeling nyo or nasabihan na rin kayo? Di ko kaya ibigay yan. Sige, someone else, ganyan. O kayo din sa likod, nasabihan na rin. Ikaw, Tony. Okay lang, chill ka lang. Nonchalant. Asa nonchalant? Much. Ganun lang. Okay. So there are 3 scenarios that I initially see here. Then dissect natin how we can navigate through these, no? Paano kung too much ako para sa kanya? One scenario that I can think of is we feel like we're too much because we choose people who do not want to give what we are looking for. Ito yung mga clear na talaga from the start, emotionally unavailable. Wala talaga sila sa space para mag-commit. Yung mga nagbibigay lang ng bare minimum. They tell us this from the start with their words and actions na hanggang dito lang ang kaya kong ibigay. Pero we allow ourselves to drown in the fantasy of, well, maybe I can change your mind. Tingnan natin, tingin natin, kaya natin sila mabago because of the love that we have to give. Kahit na clear na hindi sila ang tama for us. What narrative are we trying to create? What's stopping us from seeing reality for what it is? For what is happening right now? Is there a part of us deep down that believes na hindi natin deserve mahalin? Kasi may nagsabi or may nagparamdam sa atin dati na hindi natin deserve. Do we think yung tama for us doesn't exist? Or is it like too good to be true? Wala bang thrill kung walang chase? Bakit kaya hindi natin piliin ang tao na gusto ring ibigay yung klaseng pagmamahal na hinahanap natin? What would happen if we did? Do we believe we're too much? Paano kung we started believing we're just the right amount of us? How would we then choose? Paano kung too much ako para sa kanya? Another scenario I see happening is kung saan tinatry nila yung best nila para ibigay ang hinahanap natin. Pero it's still not the kind of way we want to be loved. Paano kung yung 100% na binibigay nila ay 40% lang para sa atin? Paano kung magkaiba yung currency ng pagmamahal natin? Nakikita kong tinatry nyo pareho to make it work. Pero in time, one or both of you could get frustrated or even build some type of resentment kasi ultimately, hindi lang talaga compatible. If both people are trying their best, it's no one's fault na nasa magkaibang scale ang needs nyo. The fault, the quote-unquote fault I see is if the imbalance cannot be truly accepted wholeheartedly and one or both of you are not being honest with yourself. So there's a decision that needs to be made. Do you settle for their 100% or do you set out to find the kind of love that you want that maybe someone else would be able to give? Does it exist? Maybe. Pero pwede ring hindi. How much are you willing to risk to find out? Parang combination ng mga scenarios na to ang tanong ni Vinny. Sakto pagka-check ko sa Paano Kung Google form, may too much din. But the decision he made so far is to try to change the exchange rate. So Vinny asks, paano kung I'm too much for him? Hi Joelle. First of all, I just want to get this out. I'm a fan. I would see you before sa FYP ko sa TikTok. Now I'm an avid listener of your podcast. Anyway, here's the story. I'm bisexual, and this is about the first guy I ever dated. I'm the type of guy who knows what he wants and does whatever it takes to get there. Minsan iniisip ko din kung umaabot na ba sa level na toxic yung ways ko to get there, like this story of mine. I'm generally quiet, pero around my friends or people that I'm comfortable with, I'm the complete opposite. Life of the party. I met this guy on a dating app. Let's call him A. And we've been dating for over a year now. Exclusively dating pa din kami kasi I don't want to put an official label on our relationship. Kasi as someone who knows what he wants, I want my first boyfriend to be my definition of perfect. I know doon pa lang too much na. I'm from Central Luzon and he's from Eastern Visayas, but we met here because he was here for work. When A and I were in our getting to know you phase, ang daming red flags for me na sinabi ko nun sa sarili ko. Sabi ko, ayaw ko ng partner na ganito, ganyan. Pero I took it as a challenge for myself. Clear example nito yung political views niya, tulad ng isang episode mo sa podcast mo. It took some time, pero I finally convinced him na pumili ng better choices. Up to a point where he even joined me in the political rallies. Another example was the way he dressed. Nothing wrong with it naman, minsan lang hindi appropriate sa pupuntahan namin or not up to date. I tried to help him with that. I'm still in the closet except sa closest friends ko and umabot kami sa level where I introduced him to my closest friends. Minsan pa nga pag busy, umaalis sila nang wala ako. Which is something I don't mind. I took a lot of ups and downs for both of us. And well, this month I was planning to make it official. I know I'm aiming for the stars when I said gusto ko ng definition ko ng perfect boyfriend and that's never gonna happen. I love him for the way he is already. Every time we date, I could imagine doing this for the rest of my life. Alam kong relationships need work and there are gonna be problems. Kaya if I'm waiting for him to be perfect, mamamatay na lang ako. He went home to Eastern Visayas and ang plan ko was when he got back here, we'd put an official label to this. Kaso he stopped talking to me for 3 days which spiked up my anxiety. Akala ko kung ano nang nangyari. I asked my friends to call him. I was really worried at walang answer. Around 1 a.m., he texted me na kakausapin niya ako kinabukasan. Huwag ko daw i-overthink. He was just doing some thinking. Which made my friends mad kasi we were worried kasi nga baka kung ano nangyari sa kanya. It took 3 days bago siya mag-reach out sa akin. He sent me this long-ass message. Mahaba talaga, but I'll just summarize kung saan ako nakaramdam ng sakit. Where I felt to myself that I wasn't really a great partner for over a year that we've been together. First, my introduction. How he was thankful that I changed his political views, introduced him to my friends, and he had a great time with me. Tapos ito. Quote, but the part where nasakal na ako is that I was trying so hard to be who you want me to be. You have a clear image of who you want to be with, what he wears, how he behaves, how he thinks, what he wants to be. I was so busy trying to be that person, I kind of lost track of who I am. Kasi naisip ko the whole time na magkasama tayo, pag nakita ako ng isa kong kaibigan, all of my behaviors would change and then I'd be afraid of what you'd think of me. Yun ang pinaplay out ko palagi. End quote. And then some thank yous, cherishing our moments together. So Joel, paano kung I'm being too much for him? Do you think I should let go kasi it's not a match? Because I'm still willing to give this a shot. To be nicer when I approach my problems with him. To tone it down without really changing myself. Pero kung ayaw na niya, it's gonna be hard for me. But I'm more than happy to set him free, knowing na he's moving forward in his life peacefully. I really hope you could answer this in your podcast. Hi, Vinny. I can see na self-aware ka naman about many things which is super great. Ang daming hindi aware, so walang nangyayari. So, yes, tama ka. There is no such thing as a perfect boyfriend. So, tapon na natin. Let's throw that out the window because that doesn't exist. But I do believe that there is a perfect boyfriend for you. It's nice that you're clear about what you want in a partner. And it's important to you. Kilala mo yun na nagmamatch ang political beliefs, dressing appropriately. It's all valid. Pero valid din yung feelings ng boyfriend mo who may have felt like he tried to fit a certain image to please you, which then led him to abandoning parts of who he is. Ang lungkot-lungkot nun basahin. If ayaw na niya na i-work niyo pa yung relationship niyo, syempre, respect na natin yun, di ba? Because, everyone deserves to live a life authentic to them. Pero kung open man siya to work it out with you, then I wouldn't suggest you let go right away. Pero meron kayong mga kailangang pag-isipan at pag-usapan. Things that you can definitely take accountability for. Sinabi mo na I love him for the way he is already. But was that really who he was? Or was it a version of him that you created to fit your narrative and what you wanted? Hindi ko alam kung paano mo siya kinonvince or paano mo inimpose yung mga beliefs mo. Siyempre, ikaw lang ang makakaalam nun. But that is something that you might have to assess if it was done in a manipulative way. We can't change people. We can only communicate our needs and hope that this is something that they can or want to do. Now, I want to clarify, while you may have heavily influenced, tried to convince, or imposed kung ano man, that, he changed just certain parts of him to fit what you want in a partner, this was, of course, a choice that he made. If he didn't feel comfortable with changing certain things, it was ultimately his responsibility to set this boundary. Hindi man niya ito ginawa, but he did tell you all this now. So an immediate action to address this issue is to create a safe space for him to communicate his feelings and concerns at mag-adjust ka accordingly if you want. So, kung itry nyo man itong ayusin, if he asked you to stop trying to make these suggestions on what he wears, how he behaves or speaks, will you be able to wholeheartedly accept this side of him? As in, genuinely not try to change him. If the answer is not a resounding yes, then it might be best to let go so that you both find the love na hinahanap nyo. Paano kung too much ako para sa kanya? Yung last scenario na nakikita ko ay pag manipulate na tayo. Alam mo yan, pag nag-exist lang tayo, living life, walang ginagambalang tao, pero pinaparamdam or sinasabi nila sa atin na too much tayo. When we feel things deeply, when we just love and live life, when we approach life with passion and excitement, tapos sinasabihan tayo na, hoy, sobra na yan. Pag nagiging too much tayo, they withhold their love and attention and affection. So in order to keep them in our life, we choose to dim our light, to tone it down, to hide parts of ourselves. Slowly, we chip away these parts of us that make us who we are hanggang sumabot ang isang araw na titignan natin sarili natin sa mirror tapos hindi na natin makikilala kung sino tayo. This has happened and continues to happen to so many people. What would happen if you embraced your muchness, your too muchness? Paano kung inaccept mo yung large capacity mo for love? Paano kung you gave into the desire to love loud, to live life the way that it's meant to be lived based on what you want? What great things would happen if you set yourself free? Kung masabihan kang too much, paano kung sabihin mong, oo nga, tama ka. I do love and care too much. And all of that is just right for me. If it's not right for you, then maybe we're not right for each other. Which brings us back to what I said kanina. We're never going to be too much for the right person. For some, it can be hard to leave a relationship that we have kasi at least hindi tayo mag-isa. At least may alam tayong nagmamahal sa atin somehow, some way. Hindi man buo, pero at least alam natin may nagmamahal. Pero imagine if you find someone who loves you for exactly who you are without wanting to change you. Imagine having someone who not only accepts the weird parts of you, pero that's exactly the thing that they love about you. Pero syempre, in order for all of this to happen, kailangan i-unlearn din natin that we are too much. We need to unlearn that. That as long as we're not hurting anyone, we are free to live life the way we want to. It can be a long journey for some. Pero at least, ma-activate man lang sa brain natin na, it's there so that we can allow this kind of love in if it comes. We need to believe that it exists and that we can be in a relationship like this. And speaking from experience, I just really wish that those who seek this kind of love would get to experience something as beautiful as this. Because it's not a mistake that we are who we are. So if someone were to tell you you're too much, I hope you find it in you to actually just say, yeah, I know. Isn't that great? Pero hanggang dito na muna tayo. I feel na mas marami pang versions of too much ang nag-exist in the realm of Paano Kungs, and I would love to dive deeper here. Kung may sarili kayong Paano Kung questions na mas specific dito, you can head on over to heylink.me/JoelOL and look for our Paano Kung Google form. If you want to join our next intimate live session, abang-abang sa Paano Kung Telegram group at sa aking broadcast channel at JoelOL for announcements. But yeah, thanks so much for being here. And especially to you guys. Kwentuhan ulit tayo soon. Always remember, may kasama ka lagi sa paghanap ng mga sagot sa mga paano kung sa buhay. You're valid, you are growing. So you may meet people who would find you to be too much. But I hope you embrace what is too much about you. It's a superpower that is meant to be shared with others. So love hard, love true, because you deserve the kind of life and the kind of love that you want.
The Pod Network Entertainment. The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.